There comes a moment in everyone's life when everything falls apart, your plans crumble, your strength fades, the people you trusted disappear. You stand in front of the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back. And in that silence, that breaking point, you start to question everything. But remember this, life doesn't break you to destroy you. It breaks you to rebuild you. The pain you feel right now isn't the end of your story, it's the beginning of your power. So when life breaks you, let it, because that's where the real you is born. There's a moment in life when the weight becomes too heavy to carry, when your chest tightens and your breath catches because everything you believed in begins to slip away. You lose people you thought would never leave. Opportunities vanish like smoke. Dreams you nurtured for years suddenly feel like illusions, and in that darkness you start asking, why me? But the truth is, everyone who has ever achieved greatness has walked through that same fire. The athlete who trained in silence, the artist who created through heartbreak, the soldier who stood alone when no one believed, they all faced the moment when life broke them. Because life will always test the strength of your foundation before it allows you to rise higher. When everything around you falls apart, what's really happening is a stripping away of illusions. The things you once thought defined you, the job, the relationship, the approval, they vanish, and suddenly you are left with just yourself. That's when you find out who you truly are. It's painful, yes, but it's also the most honest mirror you'll ever face. Every tear, every scar, every sleepless night becomes a piece of your rebirth. This isn't punishment, it's preparation. Because before you build an unbreakable version of yourself, life must first break the weaker one apart. Pain is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. When life breaks you, it doesn't take something from you, it reveals something within you. Every heartbreak, every loss, every sleepless night is a message. But most people never stop long enough to listen. They drown in anger, they run from sadness, they numb themselves with distractions, and they miss the truth that the pain is trying to teach them who you are when everything is gone. When you're broken, there's no one left to impress, no mask to wear, no image to protect. It's just you, raw and real. That's when your soul starts whispering quietly but with truth. It tells you what you truly value, what really matters, and what you can no longer tolerate. The pain strips away the noise so you can finally hear your own voice. And that voice, your authentic self, is what life's been trying to show you all along. Think about it. When things were easy, you weren't growing, you were just existing. Comfort doesn't challenge you, it numbs you. Growth only begins when comfort ends. That's why life sends storms not to drown you, but to cleanse you. Every challenge is a question. Will you run from this or rise because of it? And it's in that moment when you stop fighting the pain and start learning from it that everything shifts. You realize that your suffering has been sculpting something extraordinary inside you. It's shaping your patience, deepening your empathy, sharpening your willpower. You begin to see that the pain you once hated is actually your greatest ally, the invisible hand guiding you toward your purpose. So don't rush your healing. Don't force yourself to move on before the lesson has been learned. Sit with it, feel it, let it teach you, because once the lesson is complete, you'll never be the same again. You'll walk differently, you'll speak differently, you'll live differently. The pain that once broke you will become the very reason you stand taller. When life breaks you, it's not trying to end your story, it's rewriting it. And one day, you'll look back on your darkest nights and realize that was the chapter where you found your light. Pain is the greatest teacher life will ever give you, brutal, honest, and transformative. When life breaks you, it strips away everything that's false, the fake smiles, the illusions of control, the people who only stayed for your light but disappeared in your darkness. It's in those moments when you're lying on the floor, wondering how everything fell apart, that the truth begins to whisper. This pain is not here to destroy you. It's here to rebuild you. Most people run from pain. They hide behind distractions, drown themselves in noise, and avoid silence because silence reveals the truth. But the strongest souls, the ones who rise from ashes, are those who dare to sit with their pain, to look it in the eye and ask, "What are you here to teach me?" Because pain always has a purpose. It teaches endurance when comfort would have made you soft. It teaches gratitude when success would have made you proud. It teaches perspective when ego would have made you blind. Think about the ones who changed the world. They all walked through storms. Nelson Mandela found purpose in prison. Malala found courage in tragedy. Elon Musk faced failure after failure before revolutionizing industry. Even Keanu Reeves, behind his calm smile, carries stories of loss and solitude that shaped his strength. What do they all have in common? They didn't run from their pain. They used it. They turned it into power. When life breaks you, it's not punishment, it's preparation. The world may strip you down, but it's only so you can rebuild stronger, wiser, and more authentic than before. Sometimes, pain is the chisel that carves you into who you were always meant to be. You learn what truly matters, who truly cares, and what kind of strength lives inside you when everything else falls away. So, when you're in that dark place, when it feels like you can't breathe, can't move, can't keep going, remember, the pain you feel today is not permanent. It's temporary fire shaping something extraordinary. The cracks in your soul are where the light begins to enter. And one day, when you rise again, and you'll realize that every tear, every scar, every sleepless night was worth it. Because life didn't break you, it built you. Rebuilding yourself after being broken is not about becoming who you were before, it's about becoming someone stronger, wiser, and quieter inside. After life has crushed you, you don't rise the same. You walk differently, you talk differently, you see through people and through yourself with a kind of clarity that only pain can give. The world expects you to come back loud, to prove yourself, to show them you survived, but true healing doesn't need applause. It happens in silence, in moments no one sees. You start with small things, waking up on time, cleaning your space, drinking water, going for a walk even when your heart feels heavy. Those little acts of self-discipline become the bricks of your new foundation. Because when life shatters your structure, the only way to rebuild is piece by piece, slowly, patiently. You start trusting yourself again. You stop chasing what broke you. You stop explaining your pain to those who never cared to understand it. And something beautiful happens. You begin to find peace in solitude. You realize that being alone isn't lonely, it's sacred. It's where you meet yourself again, where you learn what you truly want and what you'll never tolerate again. This is where character is built not in comfort, but in quiet resilience. The nights you thought would destroy you, the mornings you forced yourself to get up anyway. Those are your victories. Think of a forest after a wildfire. The flames consume everything, yet, months later, new green shoots begin to appear through the ash. That's how healing works. You burn, you ache, you lose, but the soul, if you let it, grows back stronger than before. The version of you that rises after the fall is sharper, humbler, and more compassionate. You stop being afraid of storms because you've already survived your own. Remember, rebuilding isn't about proving anything to the world. It's about becoming someone you can finally respect. You no longer need validation, recognition, or approval because pain taught you the truth. The only person you truly need to impress is the one in the mirror. When you rebuild yourself, you stop running from life. You walk into it with your scars visible and your heart unguarded. You don't pretend anymore. You don't beg for understanding. You simply exist authentically, peacefully, powerfully. And that's the moment when you realize life didn't just break you to hurt you. It broke you to reshape you into someone unbreakable. Moving forward after being broken isn't about forgetting what happened, it's about learning to walk with your scars and still choosing to move anyway. You see, strength isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It doesn't boast. True strength is quiet. It's that small voice inside that says, "Get up, one more time." It's showing up on the days when your heart feels heavy and your mind is full of doubts. It's smiling not because everything's okay, but because you refuse to let the darkness win. When life knocks you down, it's easy to stay there. It's comfortable. You convince yourself that maybe you weren't meant for more, that maybe the world doesn't need you to try again. But the truth, the world does need you, not the perfect version of you, not the unscarred one. It needs the one who fell, broke, and still had the courage to stand up, because people don't find hope in your perfection. They find hope in your persistence. Think about it, every great soul you admire had a moment when life shattered them. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. J.K. Rowling was rejected by publishers over and over before creating a world that inspired millions. They all had a choice, to surrender or to rise, and they chose to rise. That's the difference between staying broken and becoming unstoppable. Moving forward means accepting that not everyone will understand your journey. Some will judge you for changing. Others will leave because they can't handle your growth. Let them. You're not meant to carry everyone with you. Sometimes you have to close doors not out of hate, but out of love for yourself. You cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. You cannot evolve if you keep holding hands with the version of you that no longer exists. There will be days when the past calls your name, tempting you to go back, but the same fire that once burned you is now the light guiding you. Keep walking toward it, because every step you take forward, no matter how small, is a victory. The world measures progress by results, but the soul measures it by courage. The moment you decide to keep going despite fear, that's progress. So, move forward not because it's easy, but because standing still hurts more. Every time you push through the pain, you create space for something new to grow. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the version of you who almost gave up became the reason someone else found the strength to keep going. That's the legacy of those who refuse to stop. They turn their pain into direction, their scars into wisdom, and their story into light for others lost in the dark. And when you finally make it not to perfection, but to peace, you'll understand that moving forward was never about escaping the past. It was about transforming it into your greatest source of power. There comes a moment after the storms, after the heartbreak, after all the nights you thought you wouldn't survive, when you finally realize something powerful. You didn't just make it through, you became something else. You became unbreakable, not because life stopped hurting, not because you found some secret formula for happiness, but because you learned that pain doesn't define you, your response to it does. Becoming unbreakable doesn't mean you never fall again. It means when life hits you, you don't shatter anymore, you bend, you adapt, you evolve. You've been broken enough times to know that cracks don't weaken you, they let the light in. You've seen darkness so deep that now, even the faintest spark feels like hope. You've carried burdens so heavy that now, even your silence has strength. You've cried in secret and smiled in public, and somehow, through all of it, you're still here standing, and that's the beauty of it. You survived things that were designed to destroy you. You endured losses that changed you forever, but instead of letting them harden your heart, you let them shape your soul. You stopped searching for validation from others because you finally understood the approval you were chasing will never fill the emptiness that only self-respect can heal. Look at yourself. You've rebuilt your life from ashes. You've learned to trust your intuition, to protect your energy, to say no without guilt. You've discovered peace in places chaos once lived. And most importantly, you've realized that you don't need to prove your worth to anyone, because the fact that you're still here, breathing, growing, trying, is proof enough. Think of the strongest materials in the world: steel, diamond, tempered glass. Do you know what they all have in common? Pressure, heat, fire. That's what makes them unbreakable, and humans are no different. The pressure you felt was never meant to crush you, it was meant to shape you. The fire you endured didn't burn you, it refined you. Every scar on your soul is a testament that you were tested and you passed. Becoming unbreakable doesn't mean you don't feel pain anymore. It means you understand it now. You know it's part of growth. You've made peace with your past, and you no longer see it as a wound but as wisdom. You've stopped asking, why me, and started saying, try me, because you've been through enough to know that you can handle whatever comes next. And maybe, just maybe, that was life's plan all along, to break you open so the real you could finally emerge. Not the version that hides behind fear or tries to fit into the world's expectations, but the one who stands tall, scarred, and fearless. The one who's not afraid to love again, try again, fall again, because now you know that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you will always rise. So when you look in the mirror tonight, don't see what you've lost. See what you've become. You're not the same person who started this journey. You're wiser, stronger, and yes, unbreakable, because life didn't defeat you, it forged you.